Johnny Tuck Shorts on the Week 12 college football predictions. Week 11, good 7-3 week. That's a good response after the 5-5 Week 10. 5 times this year that I've said I'm going to respond. I've responded. So I'm 5-0 in respond picking weeks. Luckily, this isn't a respond week, although based on history, it could be. Before we get to my picks, let me just address a couple things. First, last night I had an updated top 10 playoff rankings on this board right here. So I'm going to put the link in the description box down below so you guys can check that out. Really exciting stuff. It could cause some debates in the comment section, but we'll see what happens. And let me also address what happened to Tennessee today. Tennessee finally parted ways with Butch Jones. Tennessee fans have wanted this for a long time. Some Tennessee fans wanted this after the Georgia game. Some of them wanted it after the Florida game. Some of them wanted it all year long. Even Kentucky football fans are glad they hired Mark Stoops instead of Butch Jones. But possible replacement for Tennessee. Chip Kelly could be one. John Gruden could be one. In fact, there was a Reddit post that a booster said that John Gruden's being offered $10 million to be Tennessee's next head coach, which I can't buy into that yet. It's like an I'll believe when I see it moment. Let's see. Chad Morris could be a candidate out of SMU because I think a lot of SEC schools are going to go after Chad Morris, like Texas A&M might if they actually let go of Kevin Sumlin. Maybe Arkansas could go after Chad Morris. I see Chad Morris having a Power 5 job, whether if it's Tennessee or Florida or Texas A&M or maybe even UCLA or maybe whether if it could be somewhere that's getting rid of their head coach. So I can name a lot of teams that are thinking about getting rid of their head coach. In fact, Florida's already done so. Tennessee's already done so. I think Texas A&M does so. I think Arkansas will do so. Nebraska's going to do so. But it seems like right now it's almost in favor that Nebraska will be signing Scott Frost. In fact, there was something that, I heard through the grapevine, like being in the Nebraska area and where football is like football is like the main thing in Nebraska in the fall season, that there was a report that came out, like a radio station came out in Nebraska saying that Nebraska has already offered Scott Frost the job and he has till December 3rd to decide, which really could almost be a distraction for him. But I think it'd be a good opportunity for him. So that's what I also heard through the grapevine in this area, that they've already offered Scott Frost, and he has till December the 3rd to decide. Also, it's almost a 50-50 shot at Nebraska getting Scott Frost right now. Basically, Scott Frost has been floating all throughout Nebraska this whole season. Ever since they got rid of Athletic Director Sean Eichhorst, everyone in the area of Nebraska was talking about that their new athletic director, hopefully they get a guy, and they got their guy in Bill Moos. They're hoping that he gets Scott Frost, because Scott Frost the fans have really, I don't know how to describe it, but like their hearts are just filled with Scott Frost, because Scott Frost is a former quarterback. Scott Frost has also been the offensive coordinator at Oregon. So Scott Frost should improve Nebraska's offense if we get to that. But we'll see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But let's focus on the Week 12 picks. TCU versus Texas Tech. I'm going with the Horned Frogs to respond after a bad week against Oklahoma. Knowing they still have something to play for, because TCU still has the tiebreaker over Oklahoma State to get into the Big 12 championship game. So TCU just got to focus. Know they still have some season left. They can still get a good New Year's Six game, or even a playoff situation if we get another 2007 incident. Now, Michigan versus Wisconsin. I'm going to come back to this one because I feel like if there was a game of the week you can classify as a game of the week, it would be this one. So I'm going to come back to it at the very end. Minnesota versus Northwestern. I'm going with Northwestern here. Minnesota trying to get to a bowl game, but I don't think it happens here. I'm going with Northwestern. Texas versus West Virginia. Now, which Texas team is going to show up? The team that lost in Week 1 by double digits to Maryland, or the Texas team that really fought hard against Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, USC, but just couldn't get the job done? Just think about it. If Texas could have gotten all three of those games done, we could be talking about Texas being a future dynasty in college football. Tom Herman's got the guys really disciplined. I think Texas is going to fight hard to the finish, but I got to give the edge to West Virginia here. I'm going with the Mountaineers. Kentucky versus Georgia. Georgia trying to respond after an ugly game last week against Auburn. Kirby Smart just has to sit his guys down and get them to realize they still have some season left. They can win the last 2 games and win the SEC championship game against the winner of Alabama and Auburn, the winner of the Iron Bowl, and know that if they can win out, they will be in the college football playoff. There is no question about that. So I'm going with the Bulldogs here to respond. Navy versus Notre Dame. I'm going with the Irish to respond as well, although Navy has a history of giving Notre Dame a hard time with that triple option, but I think Notre Dame is going to get it here. Brian Kelly's got to sit his guys down, know that there's still some season left. They can still get a decent bowl game. So I'm going with the Irish. Kansas State versus Oklahoma State. I'm going with the Cowboys here at Mason Rudolph. I think Oklahoma State should realize they have some season left. Just in case TCU slips up, Oklahoma State could still sneak into the Big 12 championship picture. I'm going with the Cowboys here. LSU versus Tennessee. I think maybe Tennessee. Let's see if something sparks Tennessee. Let's see if the student section in Tennessee is going to really have a spark, considering with Butch Jones parting ways with the university today. But I think LSU is going to win. But let's just see if the Tennessee crowd shows up. I think they will show up. I think they probably will, because I believe it's it's going to be senior night there, but I'm not 100% sure. Someone let me know in the comments section. All right. Now this next matchup, really underrated matchup of the week. UCLA versus USC, or as I like to call it, Josh Rosen versus Sam Darnold. Because if you're an NFL scout, preferably a scout of the following teams. I'm going to say Broncos, Browns, Cardinals, Jets, Giants, maybe even 49ers. Maybe in any of those teams. I would say they should lock their eyes on this game. 2 of the highest rating quarterbacks, or even the Redskins. 2 of the top QB prospects going at it against each other. This is going to be a great game. I don't expect there to be much defense in this game, but I think USC's defense is going to make more stops than UCLA's defense will. So I'm going with the Trojans. Utah versus Washington. I'm going with the Huskies to respond after their heartbreaking loss against Stanford last week. Ultimately, or theoretically, in theory, ending the Pac-12's playoff chances. I'm just saying in theory, because we could easily get another 2007 situation. Anyway, let me get my bonus picks in. But the bonus picks are given the ACC Conference of Love. I'm going with Miami over Virginia, and I'm going with North Carolina State over Wake Forest. Those are my bonus picks. So let's get to what is ultimately, in my opinion, the game of the week. Michigan versus Wisconsin. Now, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of offense here. Although Wisconsin's quarterback has shown his inconsistencies in Alex Hornibrook, I haven't really seen an explosive passing performance. He threw 2 interceptions last week against Iowa, and one was a pick 6. So I've seen inconsistencies out of quarterback Alex Hornibrook, and Michigan just hasn't seemed to be the same ever since Wilton Speight went down. So I am going to go with the Badgers here in a low-scoring game. I think Michigan's defense keeps them in the game for a little while, but I think the Badgers will pull away in the second half, probably toward the fourth quarter, because I see Wisconsin just pounding the rock the entire second half. I don't see a lot of throwing out of Alex Hornibrook in the second half. I just see him pounding that rock. I'm going with the Badgers in a low-scoring game, though. I'm going to say 21. I'm going to say 21-14. I'm going to say we're going to get a type of game that we got last year with Michigan coming out on top 14-7. So that is going to do it. Those are my Week 12 college football picks. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends and family. I will see you tomorrow night for the reaction to the playoff committee's 3rd playoff rankings of the year. And once again, I'm going to put the link in the description box of last night's video where I have my updated top 10 on this board right here. So share that with your friends and family as well. It's really some good stuff. We're in the point of college football in November. It's the boiling point of the year. Any team can lose at any given moment. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, everyone.